In this episode of the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast, it is part 2 of a 2-part series. My brother James and I, we are going to share our thoughts on the 2024 Nike Hoop Summit. The first episode, we talked about the world team, but this episode is all about Team USA, led by Cooper Flagg. Stay tuned. Big shout out to each and every person that has made the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast your first listen of the day. Big thank you. Whether it's your first, your second, your third, just the fact that you are listening, because it is NBA draft season and we are your source for NBA draft content for the next, I was going to say for the next few weeks or few months until the NBA draft, but you got to stay with us in the offseason too, because we're going to be talking about the guys that you're going to be hearing about today in the 2025 NBA draft. So there's no offseason here at NBA Big Board. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe, like, share, comment. Make sure that you click the bell so you can be notified every time we drop content. And this episode is with my brother James. So before I get into this episode, I have to talk to you about who is the sponsor for this episode. It is Monopoly Go. And if you have a competitive side, then you will love Monopoly Go. It is the mobile hit twist on the classic Monopoly game. So join your friends and your family and download Monopoly Go now for free on the App Store or Google Play. All right, I mentioned in the open, the last episode was about the world team. This episode is about Team USA, which won. I thought the game was going to be a lot closer than expected. What I did like about this game, similar to the McDonald's game, it wasn't an all-star game. They competed. I didn't see, like guys playing ISO, a lot of ISO to like put on a show. I didn't see a lot of overpassing. There was something to this game. And I heard before the game, and I wasn't at the practices, but I heard before the game that the practices were pretty competitive and spirited. I heard that Team USA was out to prove a point because there were some people that thought this world team could win, and they thought the world team had, I wouldn't say better prospects, but they thought that the world team was good. Then I also heard some people say that they just didn't think the world team had enough depth to even compete with Team USA, which is interesting.
Did they specify what position they didn't have any depth?
No, well, I mean, they thought they had the two bigs and the two African bigs and Maluach and Chomche. And then at least I thought, and we talked about it at the end of the last episode, Will Riley and Hamed Musa would play a little bit more. They didn't play. But from what I heard, that Team USA wanted to prove, like, no, this is our game. We are the better. We're better than everyone else. And let's go out and prove a point. And so I thought the tone was set early, and we'll talk about Cooper Flagg in a second, but I thought the tone was set early with Asa Newell. And I mentioned in the last episode, he was defended by Khaman Maluach, who some people think is the top 5 pick. And just the way he was bumping him and slapping his hand off of him, it was something there. It was a competitive. It was something there, I should say that. And then Newell had a good game, like 17 points and 10 rebounds. I was really, really impressed with his performance. He's going to Georgia. What were your thoughts on him?
Like you said, man, he set the tone early. He was like, look, I'm going to shoot these threes. I'm going to be active on the glass. I want to say he shot how many free throws? He shot 6 free throws. He shot 5 free throws. And some of them were early. Like, he definitely came to bring it to Maluach.
I thought he had the first 5 points, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he definitely set the tone. And, he had 10 rebounds. Which
17 and 10.
17 and 10. He had more rebounds than Maluach and Chomche did combined.
Yeah, his energy was just on a different level compared to theirs. And he was getting open. I felt like he exposed Maluach a little bit because Maluach didn't want to come out and defend on the perimeter. Now, Newell did take 4 threes, and it felt like he was trying to prove to scouts and people that he can space the floor, but he was getting open. And then he just I mean, I feel like he impacted and set the tone early with his motor and his energy. And even though the two guys, Chomche and Maluach, are highly rated and considered to be better prospects by some, I thought he sent a message like, "No, I'm right here. Don't forget about me."
Mhm.
He went to Mount Verde, so he was on a loaded team, and so maybe because he played on such a loaded team, maybe he did a lot of sacrificing and he has more games than he was able to show, which I think happens when you go to whether it's Duke or Kentucky or these loaded prep schools. But like I said, I was very impressed with his performance, and he's one of the biggest risers from the 2025 draft for me based off of his play over the last few weeks.
Interesting that you said he wanted to show that he had more. So to go from Montverde to he's going to Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's obvious that he's like, look, this is my opportunity to break away from all that top tier talent. Again, not saying Georgia doesn't have talented players, but like he should be featured as the man on that team versus going and following somebody else. So I respect Asa Newell for it. And again, I respect him for taking the challenge of saying, like, hey man, you guys say these guys are better than me. Let me prove that they're not.
And I actually like guys that choose to go to Power Five schools, but not like the
Blue Bloods.
super loaded programs in a sense. I mean, I thought it worked out great for Anthony Edwards. And I think it could for Newell. Totally different players. Not saying they're the same player, going to have the same type of impact, but I feel like if you go to Montverde, you're playing a role. You go to Georgia, you probably get a better opportunity to just showcase everything that you have that you may not have been able to showcase at a school like Montverde, where like, dude, Montverde. I know there was a debate about could they beat some college teams, but they're more talented than a lot of college
Oh yeah.
teams as far
Yeah.
as top to bottom. All right, when we return, I want to talk about Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg is the most popular player, high school player in the country, has a big fan base. I thought he played extremely well, showed some things, but then there's some people that I spoke with that still aren't 100% sold on him. So I want to hear your thoughts. All right, before we get into Cooper Flagg, let's talk about Game Time. Game Time is my favorite app when it comes to buying tickets. And Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace for Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer you get to the first pitch. And they have killer last minute deals, all in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying Major League Baseball tickets. Game Time has last minute deals where you can save up to 60% on sports, concerts, comedy, theaters. They have flash deals where you can save even more, and exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or the event. And then they have the zone deals where you can save even more money when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats. They have the all-in pricing, which is one of the most important things for me. I hate it when I buy tickets on other apps and the tickets are, let's say, $50, and then right when I'm about to pay for it, I find out that the ticket is now $150 because they had some prices that weren't included. And with Game Time, you can just toggle the feature and you can see the full total up front. So there's no surprise fees at checkout. Again, you get the views from the seat, and it's actually from the actual arena or venue. So it's not like a template. And then they have the lowest price guarantee. And with the lowest price guarantee, they will credit you 110% of the difference. Your ticket is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA. You can get $20 off your first purchase. Again, download the Game Time app, Locked On NBA. You get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Game Time. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Now, James, I've been told I am a competitive person. What do you think about that?
Yeah, man, you're competitive, man. We almost threw a couple hands playing basketball back in the day a few times in the driveway. So
That was years ago.
yeah,
Well, I got a competitive side. I know you do. And my
oh yeah, I'm pretty
competitive
bad.
side is a big fan of Monopoly Go. And I'm sure you heard of it. It's been downloaded over 150 million times. It is a great twist to Monopoly, my favorite game, where you play on not one, but hundreds of Monopoly boards in crazy locations, building up amazing cities that bring you big money. And the best part is messing with my friends or my brother. I can charge them rent on my iconic properties, just like Monopoly, but now I can also rob their vaults of riches for myself. And the leaderboard show me who the biggest Monopoly tycoon is, but it's just not my competitive side that loves it. You can team up with friends and family and people all around the world in timed tournaments to earn huge rewards. So get in the game and join your friends. Download Monopoly Go now for free on the App Store or Google Play. It is Locked On NFL Draft time, and Locked On NFL's mock draft will be live on April 17th at 7 Eastern, streaming on the Locked On Sports Today 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube and for free on the Amazon Fire TV channels app. You can find the ultimate 6-episode series on April 17th at 7 p.m. Eastern to hear what the local Locked On experts are picking for every NFL franchise, with live reactions from local college football experts and even the Locked On Fantasy Football angle. Locked On NFL, the Locked On NFL mock draft on April 17th at 7 p.m. Eastern. Again, streaming live on Locked On Sports Today, the 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. All right, second segment, Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg is basically a rock star. I mean, he's the most popular, at least in my opinion. I don't think there's anybody more popular than him. The most popular high school player in the country, big fan base. I've had a chance to watch him play live a few times. The best high school defender that I've seen with my own eyes, just totally impacts games on the defensive end. And he had a good game against the world team at 19 points, was 8 of 11 from the floor, 1 of 2 from 3, was everywhere on the defensive end, made a lot of mid-range jumpers. What was your assessment on Cooper Flagg in the game on Saturday night?
That is what I want to see from Cooper Flagg. I mentioned in the podcast we did about the McDonald's All American game, it kind of looked like he couldn't really get his stuff off there. Couldn't
Mm-hmm.
get to his spots, couldn't really create his own shot. I'm just gonna assume he listened to me because whatever, but
And he not
he
listening to you.
why not? Shit. But no, he definitely showed offensive creativity the other night in the game against the world team. And that's what I want to see. I think people are going to over analyze his jump shot mechanics. I personally don't care. He's 6'9". He shoots that thing way up here and it looks like he has good touch and it goes in. Let's just go from there. Turnaround jumper he hit. I think it was on edge comb. That's what you want to see. You want to see a 6'9" guy take advantage of a 6'5", allegedly 6'5" guard and score on the block. So I think that he's the number one guy. Um, he scared me a little bit in that McDonald's game, but I like what I see from him going forward. I'm buying his talent. And again, we mentioned it before. If nothing else, he's going to be a play finisher, but I think he has play starter potential. I like how he understands, even just a little bit that we do see from him. He knows how to play pick and roll basketball, and at 6'9", that is game changing.
So check this out. So I was speaking with a scout who's a former player who had this to say. It was very interesting. And so he says about Cooper Flagg, I think he's undersized for a garbage man game. I don't think he's skilled enough. He's playing off confidence. People keep saying he's going to go crazy at Duke next season. I don't know. He says he says that he's making these wild ASS mid-range shots because he can't get by similar players with athleticism. And he doesn't think he's a consistent three-point shooter yet. He says he plays hard. He loves that. He can't take him number one. He says that he is an early 2000 player.
You saw he was interviewing Rashad McCants or somebody.
No, 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 no. This is just, I'm just trying to read read the text. And so I think some of those points,
I can understand some of that stuff.
I in the gist, he's basically saying like, I think he's gonna be really good at what he does, but I can't see number one pick.
Did he say who he thought was gonna be number one pick?
No, no.
I
So
mean, I get when you sit here and say he can't go by anybody with similar athleticism. I get that, but ultimately, if he is paired at the not at the collegiate level, but at the next level, the NBA level, you get him a pick and roll point guard. He's going to be able to be very good in pick and roll because he is a great athlete and he can pass. And I think the jump shot is going to only improve to be respectable. Again, as a power forward, an athletic power forward, I don't necessarily need you to shoot 35% from three.
mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Make a couple, keep the defense honest. Uh, but I get what he was saying in a
But do
sense.
you think he's a number one pick? Like when you think of number one picks, like go to guys, your, like your Wimbenyamas, your Zions, your Cades, guys that you kind of would expect to be like your franchise go-to player. Do you think Cooper Flagg has the potential to be the number one option in the NBA? Or do you think
Yeah, why
or do
not?
you think he's like a complimentary player? Like
All right, so
as
let me
this
ask
guy
you.
says, garbage player.
Let me
I think
ask
he's
you
more
a
than a garbage
question.
player.
What would you say? And I'm not saying he's the direct comparison, but what would your looking back at it? What was your scouting report look like of Blake Griffin coming out of Oklahoma?
Um,
Garbage points, super athletic, raw offensively, could pass.
yeah. That's fair. I mean, I think Blake was bigger.
And he's gonna be likely because Blake did 2 years at Oklahoma.
Yep.
And Blake turned out to be a max player. He was a 1B on a team that was really, really good in the Clippers.
Yep. I think Blake was bigger. What was Cooper's final measurements?
They didn't put the American ones up there, but they say he's 6'9".
And was Blake was 6'10.
But they
I
said
mean,
Blake was 6'10". He had short arms, but it didn't matter because he had a 44
yeah,
inch
I
vertical and he
think
was
I
dunking
would
on him.
say the difference between them, that's a very good comparison. I think the difference between them was Blake was physically
Yes, more
bigger.
developed. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So if Blake was 6'9" or 6'10", he may have been what, 240.
Man, yeah, rock solid coming out of Oklahoma.
And is Cooper 200?
I don't know.
That's so I think that's the difference. Can he get to that point? Yeah, I mean, we obviously saw Victor wasn't, yoked up either how
Chet
effective
just
he
played a
was.
whole 82 weighing 190.
So that's definitely fair. And Cooper is still only 17 years old. So we have to
There
factor
you go.
that in. He's still only 17 years old. All right, the next player that I wanted to talk about is Boogie Flan. What were your thoughts on Boogie? I know you like him.
I like Boogie, and he did more of what I liked when I saw him in the McDonald's game.
I wish
Like
he would have played more though. He only played 17 minutes. He was impactful in the 17 minutes, 9 points, 4 of 8 from the floor. He's a shot maker.
these minutes, man, were wild, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like Boogie Flan. In 17 minutes he had 12 points, two
I got
rebounds and an assist.
I got 9. I could be
No,
wrong.
9 points. I looked at the plus
Yeah.
minus. My bad. But yeah, like he was good.
He's
He's a
he's a
good
shot maker.
player.
He's a guy that just whenever he's in the game, he's there. He's gonna make an impact. He's going to do something that just affects the game. So I like him. What position do you think he is? You think he's a one? You think he's a two? You just think he's a ball player?
I just think he's a basketball player. I think he's gonna be good. Uh, he could be like Emmanuel quickly. Like what position was quickly at Kentucky? Guard. And similarly, where he just decommitted because everybody just decommitted from Kentucky. But assuming he goes to Arkansas, it's going to be the same situation. I like Boogie Fland a lot. I think he has a very bright future, and I think he's going to be able to translate his game from the high school level to the college level, which is going to set him up to be a one and done guy.
Okay. All right. When we return, we got to talk about the two Rutgers guys, Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey. I saved this for last because I know you got some strong opinions on Ace Bailey. I want to chip in and add mine. So stay tuned to hear our thoughts on Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, and we'll talk about some other players on Team USA. Right before we get into the last segment, I want to talk about Prize Picks, which is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. It is the easiest and the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats, and you can watch the winnings roll in. March is over, but the biggest moments happen in April, and you can be part of the action on Prize Picks for the NBA playoffs, and you can get in on the playoff action and win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks as you and the world's best players take the game to a new level during the NBA postseason. And also, like I said, you can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with just as little as 4 correct picks. So you can flip $10 into 1,000 with basketball and hockey. Also, again, Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. So download the app. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA. You get a first deposit match up to $100. All right, last segment. Let's go with Dylan Harper. I thought Dylan Harper played well. A little bit of a concern for me was I think he got like 3 shots blocked in the first half. But when he gets to his left side, going left, he's tough, he's physical, he's has a high IQ, just knows how to play the game. Like I say, he's tough and strong, especially going to his left. I like his combination of speed and strength and high IQ.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on Dylan Harper?
I think he played well, and like you said, he showed that he does have speed, but yet he still has pace, which is very important. Again, at 6'6", I think is going to be key because 6'6" point guards aren't usually fast, right? And that's okay, but you still need to be able to play with pace and transition. And I thought he did that very well. He had a pull-up jumper off the pick and roll, I think, in the first half on the left side. That looked good too. I like Dylan Harper. I like him a lot.
You think he's a point? You think he's a point guard?
Yeah, I think he's a point guard. I think it's going to work out for him as a point guard.
Another thing
think he's a point guard?
Yeah, but I also feel like he's good enough and he has the size to where if there's another team, if there's another point guard on the team, they may play both of them together.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Someone mentioned to me, I didn't see it, I didn't pay attention to it, but someone mentioned that he was able to play bully ball against the world team, but he wasn't as effective playing bully ball against AJ Debasa. Is that something that you picked up?
I did not pick that up, but you got to think if the world team's guards were allegedly 6'3" and AJ is 6'7", like it wouldn't make sense. You're not gonna post that. That doesn't help him out as a point guard trying to post up a shooting guard, small forward. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he's probably gonna have to do a better job of picking and choosing when to play bully ball. Like we're gonna put a 6'2" guy on you, 6'3" guy. By all means, take them for that ride. But yeah, trying that on a 6'7" guy that's tough, especially as a point guard if that's not what you do full time.
Yep. All right, let's get to it. Ace Bailey. I really want to like Ace Bailey. I love the talent, the physical tools. We talked about it after the McDonald's episode. The physical tools are there. I wasn't at the practices, so I can't say that, I saw the practices, but he had 14 points. He was 6 of 15 from the floor, 2 of 7 from 3. And this is like my biggest knock on Ace Bailey. And I guess they're combined in a sense. I do not like his shot selection. And he got to the free throw line 0 times. Like, and we talked about AJ Debasa in the last episode. And the reason I like AJ and I talked about it. When AJ's shot wasn't falling, when he missed like his first 3 or 4 shots, he said, "You know what? I'm going to attack the rim. I'm going to get my rhythm at the foul line." And if his jumper isn't falling, he's still going to play the same way, in my opinion. I feel like his game is predictable. 2 dribbles, pull up. One thing that
Two
he did
full
do,
speed dribbles, not
right, but
even like pace.
I think that, well, I think for him, coaching is going to be important. He did something that I thought was pretty impressive. It was in the corner, and he shot a three on the move. It was like I don't know if it was a pin down or what, but it was like he was under the move. I think he was at the net, came through, shot a corner three on the move. If he has that ability to play off the ball, like, again, I'm just throwing names out here, like that Reggie Miller, JJ Redick,
Michael Porter Jr.
Ray Allen, like guys that can shoot threes on the move or catch. Because I mean, that's a very, very difficult shot to be able to sprint full speed at the corner, catch, fire, elevate. He made one of those shots, which was impressive. And I don't know if that's the role that he wants to play, but I think at the minimum he could play that role, that Michael Porter Jr. role. But I just think that, man, he has the talent and the tools, in my opinion, to be the clear-cut number one. I know people may think that sounds crazy, but I think he has the physical tools to actually be the clear-cut number one in this draft. Or 2025. I believe he could be a very good 3-level scorer.
What? Go ahead.
I'm just saying could be, but it would be a mindset shift because we know he wants to shoot jumpers. He wants to settle for jumpers.
Raf, I got tools downstairs in the kitchen to build a bookcase. I don't have the it's not in me to build a bookcase, man. That's just not what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to IKEA, all right, or I'm gonna buy one already built and help call you up to drag it through the front door. Having the tools does not matter if you don't use them.
But
And
that's what I'm
I
saying.
don't
I think coaching could play a part in that because, and actually, I heard somebody say that at Rutgers, because they're not used to having guys like him, they're gonna just say, "Hey, we happy you here. Hey, do what you do."
see, and here, look, if I said it in the McDonald's All American podcast, I think he is Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr. is the third option on a championship team. All right. Michael Porter Jr. is paid. All right. There's no shame in having a Michael Porter Jr. career. Do you take a Michael Porter Jr. talent level player, number 2 in a draft, when he doesn't get to the free throw line and he is reliant on tough shots and he has a 2 dribble limit?
Well, even if you redid the 2017 draft, was that 18?
Hold on, before you start cooking, let me pull up that draft to make sure.
I mean, I don't think he would have went number 2 because I mean, you probably would say Luka, SGA, maybe Trey.
What you mean maybe? You're taking Trae Young over Michael Porter Jr. every day of the week.
Some people may not.
It's two totally different situations. If Michael Porter Jr. is the best player on his team, he looks like Harrison Barnes.
No, I get that, but there's some people that probably just feel like I'm not gonna win with Trey, so let me. And maybe Michael Porter Jr. is easier to put teammates around. I don't know. I know there's some people.
I think you have the game messed up if you're taking Michael Porter Jr.
No, that's fair. All right, but
in that particular draft, I mean, does he go over Ayton? Even though we know what Ayton does, he's not going over Luka. He's not going over Jaren Jackson. He's not going over Mikal Bridges. He's not going over Shea. If Miles Bridges isn't Miles Bridges, he's not going over Miles Bridges.
You don't think so?
Nah, Miles Bridges is a very good basketball player. His off the court stuff is why nobody would touch him.
I mean, Mikal, people aren't too high on him right now.
I mean, that's because the league figured out Mikal. But I mean, that's a whole different topic about the Nets. I'm just saying, Ace Bailey is talented. He can shoot. You can correct shot selection. I don't know how you can. And again, it's tough. He doesn't show anything to me that shows he can be a 3-level scorer where if he is 7 of 19, he still gets 25 points because he gets to the foul line. AJ can go 7 of 19 and get 25 points because he's going to get fouled, right? I feel like Trey Johnson has more upside than Ace Bailey.
But Trey didn't look. I think he was 1 for 7.
And he didn't play well either. And that hurts because I was getting ready to start the agenda up for him being the top 3 pick.
Yeah,
But
he
again, it's
didn't.
one game.
Yeah,
Maybe the situation at Texas is a little different. But I buy him and his talent, even today, even after that bad game, over Ace Bailey.
is it
Because
because
Trey,
the
but
passing? You think he can be a
yes, the
point guard?
passing, the
Hmm.
ball handling, the ability to get to the basket. Ace is gonna be 2 dribbles to get to the elbow and pull up, and it's like this is not the Bernard King era, man. It's hard to it's hard to make a living off of that, especially if you don't have any boogie. And I don't think he has any boogie. And I think that the Tatum comparison is what Chris Bosh say, pie in the sky. I don't think he has Tatum's.
Yeah, I don't think he's got the
Nah.
ISO elbow, ISO short corner game as Tatum. I just and I get the comparison because people said that Tatum just took a lot of tough shots, and that's why some people didn't like him. I know I was a big Banchero guy, and people thought like Banchero took too many mid-range shots. For some reason, I just don't see the game coming as easy to Ace Bailey as it does to Banchero and Tatum.
So here's the thing with those guys, they had handles. And that's a mindset thing that you can fix where you say, hey man, you got handles. Don't settle for a pull-up jumper. I don't think Ace Bailey has handles.
I think he's got handles.
I think he has, if you cut me off, I'm gonna shoot a pullback.
Yeah, I mean,
Handle.
I still think it
That's not
takes a
handles
level
to me.
of.
That's a counter move to me.
I
That's
still
not
think it takes
handles.
a level of handle. I mean, he. It's just he's predictable. That's what I think. I think he can handle the ball, but you already know what he wants to do. It's going to be east west, yada yada yada.
So
He's going to try
again,
to mix you up and then rise up over the top of you.
if you truly have handles, name somebody with handles that's predictable.
I mean,
Everybody who
but
has a
I mean,
handle
I don't know
keeps
because
the
think
defense
about no,
honest.
I disagree. You know why? Because there are people that have handles but no creativity. We've seen guys that can do every ball handling drill,
I don't care about ball. I don't care
but I'm
about
just saying, like some
dribbling.
people have handles because they can handle the ball. They just don't have any creativity.
Well, again, that's another person that they say. Again, no disrespect to Harrison Barnes. He got several Brinks trucks in his front yard, but like he has handles in like a very tight spot to get a pull-up jumper,
Yeah. But
right?
handles and creativity to me are totally, totally, totally different.
I just feel like again, I'm not hating on. I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way. I'm not hating on Ace Bailey. If I say your Michael Porter Jr. is getting 35 million a year, you
Mm.
would take that career any day, right? I just feel like he's very limited off the dribble, and he has a terrible, questionable shot selection, and I just can't take somebody in the top 2 like that.
That's fair. No, I do think that. I mean, I just think it's going to depend on coaching, but coaching is not going to be the main factor. It's going to be him. It's going to be up to him to decide to kind of tone his game down and make things a little bit easier because I think he has the physical tools to make the game easy.
Man, like I
When I
said,
say with his size, he could post up. He can. The mid range is good. I like that. I mean, there are some guys that are too like their game is too analytics based where they can only shoot threes
mm-hmm.
and so on. So I like the fact that he does have a mid range game. I just think he's too reliant on it. I just would love to see him be the type of player where he punishes a mismatch. Like I think he's a guy that you can put a smaller player on
Oh, for
because he's going to
sure.
do the same thing whether he's being guarded by a 1, a 2, 3, 4, or 5. He's going to try
That
to
is
get to his.
that's my issue. You know what? We go put somebody on him and say, "Hey, man, we'll live with that." You know what I'm saying? Like we'll
Yep.
live with that. Just contest. That's all you can do. He's gonna make some shots because he's talented, but he's not going to beat you.
Yeah. And like
AJ Roth will beat you. You don't dare put a 6'2" dude on AJ because he's gonna post him up and you're gonna have to double. And he's a good enough passer, even at 17, where he's gonna make you pay for that.
Yeah, it's a totally different mindset and mentality. Like my knock on Ace Bailey is I think, and I'm sure it's probably happened on the high school level and he exploited the mismatch, but I think on the college level, you can just put like one of those 6 foot Jose Alvarado type guards or Patrick Beverly type guard on him, get in his space, and I think it's going to have an impact on his game because he's not going to use his size to basically punish that mismatch. But I'm curious to see how he looks at Rutgers. I'm curious to see if his game changes a little bit because again, I'm high on the talent and the tools. And you may think I'm crazy, but I think with the right mindset, he could be the best player in this draft without a doubt.
Hey man, I guess this is just gonna be the line that I gotta. Hey man, I did it this year's 2024 draft cycle. I gotta bring you to the right side, man. It's like I gotta do it again, man.
All right, so what you about to say? He's Justin Edwards?
I'm not saying Justin Edwards, but I had to throw that bucket of water on your face, man, to let you know what time it was. And look, Justin Edwards, he settled into his role, and look where he is now. He's better than what y'all thought he was gonna be. I just feel like today
he's not better than what I thought he was gonna be. He's better than
y'all was tripping though. You were tripping. You misread him, and it's okay. It happens. I'm wrong. No, I thought he was.
I thought he was gonna be the number 1 pick, and that's the thing about like these McDonald's games and so on, is that a lot of guys come in with the buzz, and then a year later, it's a totally different group, and so. Ace definitely has the buzz right now. I'm not saying he is going to be Justin Edwards, where Edwards is, he's not a surefire first round pick after coming into the season with a lot of hype, but I think Ace is more talented than Justin. I thought Justin was going to be a jack of all trades and shoot well enough from 3 to really impact the game on a weak class, which is actually kind of scary if you think about it, by not being a strong class and him being a borderline first round pick. That's kind of scary if you really think about it.
Let me get one more takeoff. All right. If you're Isaiah Evans, why are you still going to Duke?
I don't know. He's in an interesting situation I talked to some people about him because he didn't play a lot. I mean, I don't really remember him playing until the last minute. He played.
Cooper got a steal and threw him a pass, and he got the dunk.
He played 5 minutes, was 3 or 4 from 5 minutes. And so I did hear someone say, like, basically what you said in the last episode, like, dude, it's a showcase. It's like,
yeah, man, what we doing, man? What was that about, man? Coaches like, trying to get jobs out here.
Yeah, like why is he playing? And I even heard that he wasn't really getting a lot of burn in the practices too. So he's a divisive prospect. Like I've heard there's some people that really like him, and I've heard there's some people that just don't like him at all. Like he's either you're hot or cold on him. I don't know why. I don't think Duke is the best fit. I mean, shoot, he's a guy that. If I'm Mark Pope, I'm like, hey man, we can get you a new shade of blue.
Hey man, listen here, man. Put my link in the tweet. Yo, man, let me give some advice, man. Look, Kentucky is prime for the taking right now. If you're a 5-star recruit, they don't have anybody.
Yeah,
everybody just left. Yep. You want to get an opportunity, and they coach. They run NBA stuff, man.
They didn't even leave. They didn't even show up.
They didn't even show up.
They ain't even been on campus.
Man, listen to me. They run NBA stuff. They ran NBA stuff. You have an opportunity to set yourself up. What are you going to do, bro?
Yeah, I definitely think Pope runs a more sophisticated offense than Calipari had been running. Well, that wraps up this episode of the Locked On NBA Big Board Podcast. Once again, thank you for listening to both episodes of our analysis from the 2024 Nike Hoop Summit. If you missed the first episode on the World Team, check it out. But once again, it's Rafael with my brother James, and we are out of here.
Hey, Nolan, Troy, hit me up. Isaiah Evans, hit me up.
Nah, Nolan, stay in France.